but it didn't seem to work. Let's try again, shall we? Hello and welcome to the ATCC pre-race from Nurburgring. I'm Ryan Callan, and with me today I have the venerable Mr. Simon Smith.
Hello everybody.
Welcome to one and all. It's 2:30 in the morning here, but a bit earlier over there in the USA. We're currently here at the Nurburgring GP circuit on GT Revolution with the American Touring Car Championship. One of the pre-races is actually the venue as well for the second race of the year in the actual official calendar, so there's plenty of practice for people to get in here. On a non-racing subject just at the moment, let's get this right, thank you. I'm very sad to report that Rhys Gardner, one of the competitors today, and regular in ATCC as well as the ATCC media guru, his granddad sadly passed away earlier this week, so we send our condolences to Ronald Wales' family, and Rhys would like to dedicate this race to Ronald and his memory. Okay, I'm moving on from there. Currently in practice, we got make it 13 minutes to go until official qualifying, which is Super Pole, so they only get one shot at the race. Talborg at the moment is top, as he often is, in his Honda, with a 2:07.7. Just 2 tenths back is Mr. Eduardo Prado, a super fast Brazilian in his BMW, and Keith himself is in just another tenth back from there in the Volvo. Fourth we have Reggie. Fifth we've got Reggie. Fourth is Keith. Matthias Klein is just put in 2:07.932, up there in third place in the standings at the moment. Let's try and find him if we can, following around the circuit. There he is. Willie Watt's team, the Bon Accord Ultimate Honda Accord. Very fetching skin it is too. Simon, anything that you have to say ahead of this race?
Ooh,
you looking forward to it?
Absolutely, right? I mean, today is going to be. You can almost hear my cherry be popped. This will be my ATCC debut coming along, so it's going to be great to be part of the action, to be honest. And of course, this is not part of the big championship. The big championship itself starts on December the 3rd over at Road America. Then, of course, as you already said, round 2 is here at the Nurburgring. So if anyone, of the 30 or so people that have already turned up for this race today, they're all getting their practices in before they go in for the last race before Crimbo. So everything very much to play for.
30 guys on track in touring cars. Into that first corner, as you know, is downhill and a very, very tight hairpin. It's going to be interesting. Hello, Yuri. What are you doing here?
I just want to say I'm going to run the diesel.
You're running the diesel? Okay, thank you for the information. We are live at the moment, Yuri, so you should kind of go away.
Okay.
Oh, bless him.
Aww.
For people who are viewing, Yuri is the actual creator of the ATCC mod. I didn't mention this a minute ago, but the ATCC mod, the ATCC is using a modified version of the race on touring cars. So not the stock cars. They've all been modified in certain ways. For example, the Lada now has a bit more power, so it makes it a bit more competitive, as Yuri is showing himself in 7th place in the Lada diesel. So it made diesel power in that one. But there's 30 guys as well in this race, Simon. Into that, as I was saying before, into that first corner, which is very, very tight and very, very downhill, and often very, very slippy. How do you see that going?
I can see it going very, very badly, actually, to be quite frank.
Well, let's hope not, but it's amusing, but it's not at the same time. So
that's what I've stayed up for 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's very true. See some action, yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Some smoke, some bumpers left on the ground.
Absolutely. I mean, that whole Mercedes complex actually is quite tricky to go into, and because obviously it's downhill, the camber's not entirely in your favour all the way down, and of course these cars start extremely cold brakes and tyres. So lap 1, I'm expecting to have at least some entertainment kicks, and it's not just down there as well. Of course, you've got the other good overtaking opportunities down to the Dunlop hairpin, where you can quite easily go 2 abreast through there. And
cross into the chicane, and it often carries on until the Schumacher S's, which are a flat out, and it often ends in tears, to be fair. That's right on board with the Jesper, who's in that Mercedes complex now, as we were talking about. Very, very strange camber on the inside, and this one here is so tempting to put the power on 2 earlier, drift wide, exactly like he's doing actually a little bit there. And then I must say, from my experience, these are one of the 2 most hated corners of my simulation racing career. I've raced with these guys many times, and I absolutely hate these 2 corners. Just understeer all the way around. So tight, and the first part of that is such a wide entry, and I hate doing wide entries. Just get into the corner already, and then people beat me, and I cry. So,
well, that's not very good at all. See, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a tight one personally, but it's just the problem is that on the exit you have a lot of problems, because I always want to run too wide on that exit and just end up over hillock and dillock. So, that's not the way to take the Dunlop hairpin, is it? To be fair,
no, that's often the case though. It's very bumpy down there as well in the braking, and you're downhill as well. So it's very easy just to overcook it into there. And there's a bit of camber on the entry, but if you don't get the camber, then you end up just sliding off it, and it's just your back end comes around and in the gravel, and that's it really.
Exactly. I mean, this corner that we're in now, I've had many a crash in this chicane.
I enjoy these corners. I don't know why I like these corners, and I hate the other one.
You've got much more freedom to fling it about, I think, around here. And then as you come up to the KGB chicane at the end of this, which I still insist on calling the Vidal chicane. I keep forgetting that it's actually changed name, and I don't think we're going to get
name.
there.
Oh.
I know, but, it's disgraceful.
It's called KGB.
I know. Or one of them.
KGB.
It might not be KGB at all. Let me have a look.
Isn't that the
ABC?
Soviet Special Force?
NGK. Oh, it was close enough. It was not the KKK chicane, so we're all right.
One's spark plugs and one's a lethal, murdering, homicidal force. Yeah, it was close.
Well, if you hit those barriers, that is a lethal homicide. To be quite fair.
And speaking of hitting those barriers and that particular corner and lethal homicide, Eric has promised that he will come down tough at any drivers cutting that particular chicane, which is very easy to cut and very tempting to cut. But talking of lethal, Eric Nelson, who is the American Club Racing organizer. He has a black belt in karate, so when he says do something, you generally just do it. You don't mess about, really. But anyway, back to the action. Tarborg at the moment is still top of the time sheets, but despite that, there's little errors. Thank you, Simon, for that. And also as well, Keith is in 2nd place, just 0.101 down. It's quite a long lap for a touring car here as well, over 2 minutes.
Yeah, which, I'm quite surprised at how close the whole grid is as well at the moment, because apart from Ethan Bass, he seems to be quite way off. The first 21 guys are covered by just 1.9 seconds at the moment.
They are indeed. we just have a quick look there. Actually, we'll go on board with Karamidaro Andrei Bogdan at the moment, but we'll just scroll on to him, shall we?
I prefer Bob.
Bob. Go on, Simon. You say it. We know you love saying your long words. Karamidaro
Andrei Bogdan.
There you go. See, it's not so bad.
There you go. And I've got teeth in.
So he's on the better lap at the moment. Looks like he's going to cross the line and do an 8-4, yeah, up to 9th place. So that was a spot round. Looking down the order, here's Stefan Werner, who's tracked over racing Seat. He's in 10th place at the moment. And scroll through the grid for him. And also, we were saying everyone's so close. There's still a couple of quick guys to go yet. Michael van Scheppingen is usually up in the top 10 there, and also Darius Swiderski is usually in the top 5. I think he's probably driving the BMW. He refuses to drive anything else. Let's have a look at him, shall we? Oh, he's in the pits.
He's not even gone out.
No.
And
I remember him very, very confident.
I remember him being a little back marker in the Formula Pro World Series, of course. So don't forget, you can also come along to the racedepartment.com website and join in on the chat room. I've got that open, so you can come and chat to me and put on things and join people such as Adam Vaughan, Wayne Reed, Gary Lennon's in there, all different other people that you can race with quite happly.
They're all in there, are they? Oh, that's great. I race with all those guys on a regular basis, so it's
we're having a gang bang. So yeah.
All right, Simon. It's still it's not past watershed in some of America.
Oh. Close your ears.
And I think it's definitely not past the watershed in Australia. So that's a very good point. Actually, moving on to that, we have, even though it's the American Touring Car Championship, we do have a lot of people from different parts of the world. We have plenty of UK guys who take part in this. Adam Vaughan, who's watching, has man flu today, he reports, so he's not driving. Bit of a wuss, if you ask me. But he usually drives, he's English. We've also got a lot of Dutch guys, plenty of Australians, and New Zealand types. And we've got Linus, who's from Sweden, if I remember correctly. If I don't, then Linus, you have the right to come and kick me. Or poke me on Facebook, as he tends to do.
Or get a new passport. Have a holiday.
Yes. And of course we've got Eduardo as well, who's Brazilian, and Matthias Klein, who's German. I don't know if it's Klein or Klein. I'm going to go with Klein. Klein sounds better. The flying German Klein. For those that are interested as well, Mr. Simon Smith, for those that don't know, I'm pretty sure most do know, has a couple of little side projects, don't you, Simon?
Oh, I do like me a side project, a bit like a side dish when you have a menu.
Yes.
Can't be having too much of those. So yes, it's one of our. Let me put my teeth back in. Keith Barrick has been very, very kind to pop my little Crashcast FM, which I run a little podcast with Maurice Sondag from the Netherlands. So between us, we run that, and that's on the logo of all the cars. So thank you very much to Keith for giving us a shout out for that. It's been very much appreciated. And you can pop over to cockpitfm.net and download our little podcasts.
Yes, it's all about sim racing, that, isn't it? You've also got as well another podcast. Can't keep you off the air.
I know, you can't shut me up, can you? It's f1cast.net, because Maurice Sondag, who is podcasting king of the world, because he actually, I didn't realise until I talked to him properly, he is a radio DJ as well on the Sky. He's got his fingers in all the pies, and all the ones that I've eaten as well, so it's all good. And so we do that because he runs the Netherlands or Dutch version of both of those podcasts as well, so we do the English version, so it's all good. And of course I've got my weekly column now on Race Department, chatting away, of which the next installment will be tomorrow. Yes.
Oh, tomorrow. Excellent stuff. I look forward to that. And we'll also give a shout out as well to Multi-BC, who are hosting this broadcast.
Woo!
And to Mr. Martin Balls, who is a very, very helpful head of Multi-BC, I suppose you could say. He's always willing to help out and recommend settings. He even stayed up for this race at now 3:44 in the morning for him to make sure it goes okay. So big thumbs up to Martin.
We love you!
Yeah, and also you may have noticed as well, the other sponsor of this particular lead is Pit Stop Furniture. Now they, great, like, they've got like office chairs and office desks, and they have. So I was quite impressed by the aluminium gear knob for swinging the chair up and down. So I was quite impressed by that. But they're manufactured by Introtech Automotive, and they're also going to be getting a new website quite soon called simracegear.com. So look out for them. They're very kindly put forward a couple of... It does, doesn't it? Yes. It's quite risque, is this site. Oh, we're in qualifying now, guys. So this is the real stuff. Let's see who goes out first. Generally, the faster guys go out last. Although Jesper, who is number 1 in the RD rankings, generally likes to go out first. Usually.
It's only a 10-minute session as well.
Only 10-minute session, but it's super pole, so they only get 1 lap anyway, so there's not too much point having a longer session, I guess.
That's true. But with 30 guys out on track, you're going to make sure that you've got to get the right kind of place in the track, because otherwise you might run into someone in a hot down or a slow down lap. So yeah.
But of course it's Super Bowl on race, so you don't get there's no other cars visible on track in Super Bowl.
Oh, that's
on
rubbish.
Race. Yes, they turn it off. So you've got a free reign for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So so it's not so bad. It's not like R Factor or other racing series like iRacing.
Oh.
Does iRacing have Super Bowl?
Do you know what? I really haven't got a foggiest.
You should know, man. I've played it, but you've commentated on it, so. Anyway,
yes.
We'll ride with Reggie. Shall we for a lap? He was in 5th place.
With Reggie.
He was in 5th place. Well, let's go for a funky camera angle, shall we? Let's go for a nice low down one. There we go. A sexy camera angle.
Actually, Reggie Blaine does have a rather sexy, slightly tartanish, Scottish-ish livery, which gets a good thumbs up from me.
Yes, that's Mr. Willie Watt did all those for his particular team, Bonacord Ultimate, and he doesn't have to churn out the skins, so bit of an artist to be fair. Let's have a tell you what, while we're waiting for him to start his lap, let's have a little whiz round of his skin. Oh, we'll go down, shall we? That's better. You see, nice little
try to refrain
as
from
well.
Willie skin jokes.
Poor Willie Watt. Poor guy. But he's from Aberdeen, so that's another. I think he's from Aberdeen.
Well,
I hope he is. He is now, anyway. But he's Scottish as well. So again, we've got people from all kinds of areas. Let's
walks of life.
Walks of life, yes. Oh, Reese has just joined the room now. I don't know if he left before, but that's Reese, who this race is dedicated to his grandfather. And Reggie crosses the line now. The time starts ticking. No one set a time. I think Reggie will be the first, so let's ride with him and see. Get a bit of a benchmark down. So all this 1 lap, and you can see the field is so close. Like, in a couple of tenths, one mistake in one corner, you're going to be 5, 6, 7 places down the field. Just a missed apex. Never mind a spin.
Absolutely,
and I've raced with these guys many times before, and it just one mistake, and you're absolutely screwed. Basically, you've no chance of getting anywhere near the top 10.
Absolutely, although Reggie's kind of nailed that whole Mercedes complex. Unfortunately, Clean has left the server, so he's got not long to get back in again before he takes back over.
I do remember that he dropped out in the last race as well, which is a big shame for him, so hopefully he can get those particular problems sorted.
Contact your ISP, my friend, as here comes Reggie Blaine down into the Dunlop hairpin, and he's taking a nice tight line in, and this is looking very nifty indeed, but a little bit wonky on the exit, and just touching those curbs just unsettles the car ever so slightly, but he seems to take that as a favoured line, which is a little bit unusual for me. So he comes around the last couple of chicanes, and once again taking nice wide line in, good exit from there, back off the curves before he actually gets into the grassy area. Then this corner here of course is flat out, if you don't know this Nurburgring circuit already. Here he comes down into the last chicane. There is no time to beat currently at the moment.
Simon resisting there.
However, let's see what time he's going to post on the board for everyone else to then beat.
A little bit off the apex there, but it wasn't too bad. He managed to gather it up. It was 7-7. I don't think it's going to be good enough, really.
No, Glenn Peterson's popped in at 2:08.4, so that's 7 tenths down with Paul Wood slitting to third and Eric Nelson to 4, so the times are coming thick and fast.
Barrick is 4 tenths at the moment, so he flings it into the first chicane there, almost on 2 wheels. So he's half a second up already. 2:07.7 was the best time in practice, and there's more grip in qualifying. There you see, Jesper Talbot 2:07.4 already, so that's Reggie down to second. And across the line goes Keith. Oh, he's not done it. Look at that. He lost so much time in the last sector.
Well, he obviously knew what the time was to beat, and he'd let the pressure get to the better of him. And he did say before this race that unfortunately I said, what are you looking for here today? And he said, oh, double win. So he's not put himself on the front foot to be doing that, I'm afraid. It's Brahm down in 16th is crossing the line to set third fastest. I thought he was going to do it there.
Oh, Kane's on top.
Kane,
look at that, 6-8. Look at that. Brilliant lap there from Kane. Show you Kane for a second. Oh, just go back, thank you. And the Peugeot as well. Is it the Peugeot indeed? I thought he was going to run the... and Eric has not had a good lap. Mr. Nelson. What place is he in? Way down the grid, 17th. You won't be happy with that at all.
No.
Let's find somebody else who's on track, shall we? After somebody who's
just
not
got
a lap. So Eduardo, now we'll with him, shall we? He's one of the faster guys. I think he was third in practice.
Well, it's looking quite split up on the top at the moment because you've got currently Kane Lasky on provisional pole in a Peugeot, Jesper Talbrook is second with a Honda, Keith Barrick's third for Volvo, and Yuri Brahms fourth for a Lada. So that shows that no real kind of, it's not easy at Miracle to see a Lada in fourth just in general, but nice to see all different constructors there up on the top, or car models.
Well, if Yuri wins all the races, then he's not allowed to win any races whatsoever because he made the mod. So basically, he's banned from winning any races. So I don't think he thought of that when he was making the mod and he agreed to make it. I don't think he thought of that particular perception. And good qualifying performance there from Simon and Abdul at the moment, 7th and 8th. Abdul's been struggling a little bit of late. Not struggling, I guess, it's a bit of a harsh word to say, but a bit mired down and said the 12th, 13th places generally, but 7th and 8th at the moment is good. Is Dan in the BMW as well? Can you see that, Simon?
Yeah, not looking too bad at all, as Reece Gardner pops in 18th with a 2:09.225. Currently 22 of the 29 drivers have set a time, so people looking not too bad, and the top 15 are covered by 1.9 seconds. It's really Kane Lasky is absolutely trumped his pole time by a whole 6 tenths of a second. Really
that is a genius time. That's fantastic. See what Eduardo can do, shall we?
Absolutely, because otherwise Kane will have caned everyone by the time we get to the end of this qualifying session.
He won't need sugar in his tea, that sure be sweet enough. Right, Eduardo Prado. See, the BMW is really, obviously, very, very good across the long stints as well. With the mandatory pit stops that we see in these races, it means that the BMW looks after its tyres much, much better and therefore keeps its balance as well. Whereas you'll see with the front-wheel drive cars, to get the most potential out of them, the best way to go is to change the front tyres. But if you change the front tyres and you've got the rear tyres are worn, and you end up with quite a bit of oversteer. So it's really a balancing act. That's where the BMWs have the big advantage. And obviously off the start. So the first start here is a rolling start. Second start is a standing start. So that's where the BMWs will gain a little bit of advantage, just like the World Touring Car Championship. Eduardo down to the hairpin in the first sector is down 2 tenths on Kane Lasky. That's not too bad. If he keeps that up, he'll still be in second place on the grid. It's on the front row. Sweeps through the Schumacher S's. Almost hits our camera. Paying for that otherwise. Into these corners here. I really enjoy these corners. You really drift. Get the car nicely into the camera there. Yeah, uses all the track. Switches straight back across the track. Seem to get a nice drive out of there. Again, this is just a flat out kink. And he's gained time back for that, just 500 steps, 5,000 even, sorry, down. He's gained those 2 tenths back. Let's ride on the ball with him, shall we? Into chicane, flicks one curb, flicks the other curb, doesn't unsettle the car too much, with a little bit of a wiggle on the exit. Might have cost him half a tenth, or maybe even a tenth. Throws the car into the hairpin, he's tried just a little bit too hard there, I think. I think that might have cost him pole position. See what he's got here, yep. 7-0 though, that's still on the front row, and with that BMW power, even with the rolling start, still the best start from the front row drive, so he'll be looking very, very good for the race. And Keith, again with his double win, like you were saying, Simon, he's not very, very good from 4th. So
no, it's
the race.
Problems as well for Chris Sykes and Linus Broström, because neither of those have actually set a time, because that now means with 15 seconds to go, all 27 guys that have completed their time are set, so Kane Lasky certainly has wrapped up a nice little pole position there.
So if you qualified ahead of Linus, look.
I know! Well, that would be the first time I'd got better qualify anyone, to be perfectly fair. So as the clock strikes 0, Kane Lasky then has taken pole position with a 2:06.861. Note that time down. If you think you can get anywhere near it, then you need to come and sign yourself up to the ATCC rather.
Yes, indeed you do.
One of those.
These guys are quick, remember. We got Kane Lasky and Eduardo Prado are ahead of the top 2 ranked guys on the race department, so really showing their true worth here.
That's it.
Now we're into warm up. Let's check the grid, shall we? A nice run through. There we are. Get rid of the nasty overlay. So Kane Lasky then on pole position, 2:06.861 for Flying Dutchman Racing. That's a fantastic time in his Peugeot. Eduardo in the BMW, 2:07.8082. Big gaps really between the top 3, but then from there on it's very, very, very close. There's Tarborg for 0.467, Barrican 0.636, Graham just is a 0.691, so it's very, very close between those 4th to 6th there, with Blaine in 6th, which was a good lap in the end actually, and Asbury just behind again, his BMW in 7th place. Then we have Gardner, Ahmed and Skurlock. Ahmed in his very distinctive Gulf livery. I'll quickly show you that for a second actually, if we can just flip to Mr. Ahmed, who's also from the UK. Here we are. Very, very nice livery there, isn't it, Simon?
Oh, I'm positively purring.
You're purring? I hope not.
Yes.
We scroll through the grid here. We got Mr. Cap, or Mr. C, but otherwise known as Karamidaro Andrei Bogdan, in 11th place, with Glenn Peterson for Longshot Racing. He's the best of Longshot Racing guys here today, in 12th place. We've got Isles with a 8.489, who's doing very, very well lately. We'd be a little bit disappointed with his 13th place. Stefan Werner there of Tractor Racing with a solid time of 8.5. Swiderski as well would be a little disappointed with his 8.6 in 15th place. But like we were saying, drop a few tenths here and you're straight down the grid. So there are always people finding that out. Michael Van Scheppingen and Leonardo Tumo make up 16-17. Michael Carver there in 18th. There's a blank person in 19th. Who's in 19th, Simon?
I haven't a clue, because they've just restarted the server. I think that might have been...
They have just restarted the server.
Well, that's sorted that out, so you may have a little bit of a technical issue, but we'll get back with that as soon as possible.
Would you like to just carry on with the I'll go and check, shall I? I'll be back in a second.
Okay. I'll just continue on down the grid there for you. Wonderful people. Let's just have a little nosy pose. 19th I've got down for Reece Gardner, then 20th on the grid will be Daniel Wood, 21st William Munich, 22nd Eric Nelson, with 23rd Ethan Bass, 24 John Snide Striker, 25 will be, Daniel Wood will be 21st, sorry, now that he's rejoined the server. That's why we done.
Right,
I got there
with the information. Mr. Paul Wood disconnected from the server.
Yes.
So under ATCC rules, we're very, very kind to each other. If someone drops in Warmup and are still on TeamSpeak, and therefore people can tell his connection is not completely gone, because you know what race is like with some of its, shall we say, technical difficulties with people disconnecting randomly. They've they've restarted the server so that people can join again, but it keeps the grid order generally the same. So let's see if we can get the grid back up again. Oh no, we can't get the grid back up again. It's all mishmashed. It will be okay. It should be okay for the race, though. I do hope.
Definitely. I mean, I can finish off the rundown of the order for you because I've still got it all here. So we was down to 20. Well, Daniel Wood rejoined in 21st position. That brings William Yellock to 22nd. Eric Nelson slips to 23rd with Ethan Bass alongside on 24. Row 13 will be John Side Striker and Willie Watt, with Eric Estes and Chris Sykes rounding off the grid, with all on his own on the back row, Linus Bostrom.
Interesting stuff. So, again, we have the usual suspects at the front, along with Eduardo Prado, who doesn't usually race too much at race department. He generally races elsewhere, but when he comes along, he usually flies, as you can see. Let's go on board with some other. So let's find somebody who's driving around, shall we? Oh, someone's in the wall. Who's that? I'll just turn the grid off, Ryan. It would help. Thank you, Mr. Commentator. Willie in the wall. Okay, that's a bit of a case of will he make it round the corner, really, isn't it?
Will he or won't he?
Will he or won't he? People streaming past him. There's quite a lot of traffic on the warm-up. Not usually the case. Let's try somebody else, shall we? Here we are, Mr. Kane Lasky, our pole sitter, by 6. Well, what was it, by 4 tenths of a second in the end? Because no, 2 tenths, because Brado came in with a 7-0, didn't he? But came with a 6-8. That really was something special there from Kane Lasky. Relative newcomer to the series, but he really has it fitted in very, very quickly and laid the gauntlet down to the perennial frontrunners of Jesper Talborg and Keith Barrick. Keith Barrick is, for people who don't know, is the organiser of the ATCC, so of course he's not allowed to win any races either. Most people will shout fix.
Don't tell him that.
Oh, I enjoy saying that sort of thing. Oh, but the grid graphic is not working, but the little standings overlay is working in the correct order. So that's okay. I can still keep up with it like that. All is not lost. So Dan Asbury and Simon Garner are well placed for this race. I'm looking for them to have a strong race. But coming up through the field, I would look for guys like Swiderski and Nelson and Gardner, who've qualified, I would say, probably below their potential, and they won't be happy with that. Mr. Paul Woodwell will be starting from the back of the grid because of his disconnection issues. We'll pretend that it was he had to change an engine or something, shall we, for realism purposes. I have a feeling that's my mouse in the middle of the screen again. Yes, it was. Apologies for that, guys. So, 2 minutes to go in warm-up. Again, we remind everybody that this is an ATCC American Touring Car Championship pre-race in the Race Department Club, hosted by Race Department at the moment, but we're using their own servers for the actual championship. But the forums are at Race Department, it's www.racedepartment.com. I think it's / American Touring Car Championship, so it's not too difficult to find. But on the main forum page, if you scroll down a little bit, there is the American Touring Car Championship just underneath, alongside many other leagues that we are running at the moment, one of which will be starting in January, which is the World Touring Masters, which is using the Touring Masters mod, which is a modification of the original Touring Car Legends mod, which is exclusive to Race Department. We are currently running club races for that. Last season we saw 44 drivers take part, and season 2 is planned for January, with custom tracks and a more improved, refined mod. So if you're interested in that, pop over to Race Department. So again, that's just on pretty much the same place as the American Touring Car Championship as well. We have club races there at the moment with that particular mod. We had 30 guys last week, which was a bit crazy. 32 I think in the end, so it was a bit it was all action. 40 seconds to go then in this race at Nurburgring GP. Pre-qualification for American Touring Car Championship starts on the 22nd, which is Saturday, isn't it? What date is it today? 7? No, Sunday. Monday, even. Monday is because it's now Saturday technically. Yeah. Monday The pre-qualification starts at Watkins Glen and ends the following Sunday. So drivers who qualify in top 25 qualify for the server 1 of the first race. That's how that works. And then the second 25 qualify for server 2. So that's how that's going to play out. Mr. Kane Lasky there being very liberal with the use of the chicane there. I hope he didn't do that on his qualifying lap, else he would be in trouble.
I was just about to say the same thing. I think
Yes.
that was an individual line taken round that chicane, I feel.
Yes. Well, we might have
So-
Mr. Black Belt Eric Nelson on his case, which I wouldn't want. Yes, they go to Road America, Nurburgring, KW Super Speedway, where everybody will use the same car. So that'll be exciting. So 2 overseas races in this particular championship. They go to Bathurst for the final round, which will be exciting. It's a special version of Bathurst being made specifically for the American Touring Championship by FVRFactor.com, so we're looking forward to that. They always do top quality work. For those of you who have raced a few of their tracks, I think we are now, the race is just 90 seconds away, ticking the clock down. Simon, any last minute thoughts?
Best of luck to everyone. I don't particularly know the league very well, so I can't predict any winners, except it will be a car that is going to cross the line with a checkered flag.
Oh, go on then, just stick your neck out, come on. Let's have a prediction. I know I don't know too much, but
a
have a prediction.
prediction.
A prediction.
You're the one that's best placed for that one.
I am indeed, but I want you to make your prediction first, and then you make my prediction second.
I predict it won't be me.
Right, because you're not racing, so that would be the explanation for that, I suppose, would it? The grid is, as you can see, the grid is 4. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Talbot for race 1. I'm going to stick my neck out some more and go with Mr. Prado for race 2. Let's see if that
You
comes.
devil.
I know. There we go. So stick my neck out there.
Quah. So,
The race is a-
guillotine.
The race is a rolling start. We have a manual formation lap before the start of the race, so don't everyone get too excited yet. At the last event, I do believe I didn't know, because I had preparation. Didn't know it was a formation lap, Simon. And I went there and there go, and they're moving really slowly, and in formation, and it's formation lap.
Well, you never want to shoot your bolt too early, do you? As
No.
they go, they leave off for now. As you can see, Kane Lasky leading the field around. Now, of course, the formation lap is going to be quite key, because you need to get these tyres up to temperature in quite a nice, orderly fashion. But of course, you also need to position yourself so that you, especially for Kane, so you're in the right place, so that when you do drop your pedal all the way down to the floor, you're in the best possible place to get the full grip out of that final corner and blast away. Because that turn 1 is just an invitation for good old Eduardo Prado to have a dive down the inside, surely. Oh, as Ryan spazzes out on his keyboard. Let me just take you for a quick look through. Kane Lasky then is leading them round. Eduardo Prado second on the grid. Jasper Telberg is third with Yuri Braham 4. Keith Barrick is 5. Reggie Blaine 6. Simon Gardner is 7. With Dan Asbury 8. Then Tyler Sherlock is 9. Abdul Ahmed 10. Kamaru Andre Bogdan and Robert Isle. Glenn Peterson with Stefan Werner, Paul Wood and Michael V. Streppingen, Darius Swidertsky, Leonardo Tuma, Michael Carver and Reese Gardner round out the top 20, with Daniel Wood and William Unick, and Eric Nelson, Ethan Bass, John Sidestriker, Willie Watt, Eric Estes. Now Chris Sykes has stayed in the pits, as has Linus Brostrom, so it's as if they've fallen asleep and not bothered to take the start at all.
Linus does do that quite a lot, actually, from my personal experience. He says he's going for a nap and he never wakes up. So, and Chris is in the UK also as well, so it's very, very late for them. So it's not surprising that they've fallen asleep. To be fair.
Maybe we've got some narcoleptic drivers out on track.
That would be probably the key excuse if he hit somebody off. I was asleep. I'm sorry. I'm tired. He usually has some excuse. Keith,
No.
Keith, if you're watching this back on Dave, oh no, he's not British, you won't get that joke. But if you're watching this back, we love you really.
Do Americans ever really get British jokes?
No, we get American jokes because we're quite intelligent that way, I think. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The Americans, it's fine. They definitely won't be familiar with Dave, I guess.
You've just enamoured yourself. So how long is this race going to last then?
It's 12 laps, which is I think it's 12 laps. Yes, it's meant to be 12 laps.
Okay.
If Mr. Nelson has set it up correctly, yes. So it should be around about 24-25 minutes. So you get 24-25 minutes of classic tint of action. You can see the spread of the field there as they go through. There really is a hell of an amount of cars, Simon. Look at them streaming past. Still coming, still coming, still coming.
That's looking good for a T1 carnage.
Yes, let's hope that doesn't happen. We're going very, very slow down the back straight here. We should go a little bit faster, guys.
I think Kane is looking at bolting it as soon as he gets out of the chicane.
Well, he's only allowed to go out the last corner, apparently. That's in the rules. So if he follows the rules, he should only go out of the last corner. They've all got to stay in formation up until this last corner here, and then the leader can accelerate away from the last corner, but there's no passing allowed until the start-finish line at the end of this formation lap. So
he's got to be careful.
There we are, everyone's forming up. There's a few guys there straggling. They need to get themselves sorted out. They ran up to the line, and Kane has gone. Got a fantastic start. It's green, 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 green. Oh wait, no. Yes, they have. They seem to have slowed down a little bit. I did not think.
That was an awful stuff there. Look at Keith Barrick. He's dived right up to second. Eduardo Prado's taken the lead before they get down there.
Kane,
Barrick to second.
Place.
Yeah, Tolberg to third. Braham is now barging through as well, and that was all because Kane Lasky went to bolt and then stopped and saw that the second and fourth people had actually collected each other on the start line and given each other a little tap. He then slowed down, but then left him completely out of sync.
Exposed, yeah.
Fossil rise. Yeah. Oh, look at Lasky there.
Little tap to Tarborg, yeah. Here we go, coming around the out of the Mercedes complex, down towards the first set of S's on this particular circuit. And Eduardo Prado leads us around. Keith is up to second already, so he's looking good for making progress anyway towards his predicted double win. It's right.
We've lost Reggie Blaine.
We've lost Reggie Blaine. What's happened to Reggie Blaine?
Reggie Blaine I think he's disconnected because his car has disappeared from everything altogether. So we're down to 26.
Now we're now on board with Mr. Jesper Tolberg. Out of the hairpin, up towards the Schumacher S's. And Grosjean was left as well. He's obviously just woken up and realised he's missed the start. So we go flat out through here, and Keith looks like he has a bit of a run out on Eduardo, but it's not much place to make a pass. Just checking behind. And the top three made a little bit of a gap there to Kane. Kane's qualifying pace isn't quite there. Yuri went a bit wide over the curbs. And pushing very, very hard. Look at them going wide out of there. Pushing very, very hard. And Mr. Karamidara Andrei Bogdan, or Bogdan I'll just call him from now on because it's a lot easier, he's made a very good start. Look at that, up from 11th I think he qualified in the grid, didn't he, Simon? Up to 7th.
Yep, that's a very, very good start indeed. Up front though, Keith Barrick in second place is very much hassling the back now of Eduardo Prado. And look at him, he's fancying a nose down into the final corner. He's got himself on the inside, that's not going to work, but that's pushed Eduardo out wide, and Keith Barrick has got the inside line there. He practically scared poor old Eduardo Prado off the road, and he's got much better drive out of the final corner as they go side by side down into turn one. I think this is Keith's.
It should be Keith, yeah. Eduardo on the outside, Jesper there sniffing around looking for pieces. Oh, he's going to go down past both of them. Oh, he's going to outbrake himself surely. Yes, Jesper's far too deep. Will he stay ahead of... He does stay ahead of Eduardo Prado. That was an unbelievable braking manoeuvre there. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking, but he managed to get away with it. And now the two perennial front runners in the American Racing Club, Barrick and Talbot, going to face battle once again at first and second place. Jesper's immediately onto the back of Barrick here. Just go on board now with Tarbo coming down in towards the S's here. Big banking on the left hand side, and then get it slowed down on the curve into this corner here. It's very, very tempting to go a little bit too hot into a little bit too wide. Both cars nicely into there. Tarbo's a little bit neater line, but not much difference in the speed off the corner.
just off of your screens, Chris Sykes has retired from 26th position and Glenn Peterson spun down into turn 1 because there was an errant car stuck on the outside while all of that battle for the lead was going on. So there must have all been contact down there into turn 1, but Sykes is out.
That's a shame for Glenn. Come round now on the second lap. Look at the 1, 2, 3, 4. Fast as that. Barrett, Talbot, Prado. Lasky's lost a little bit of speed through there. Not quite sure what happened to him through that S's, but he'd caught up during those shenanigans, but he's lost that speed again. So it looks like the fight for the win in this race between these three at this moment in time. Depending on how that particular Peugeot 407 treats its tyres, it's supposed to be very, very good at its tyres. Honda's a little bit more aggressive with its tyres, and the C30 even more so. So for the tyre situation, the BMW is looking the best out of these 4 or 5, I suppose you could say, races here. And Barker's got a little bit of a lead there. Seems to have flown through that chicane and opened a few tenths of a second lead over Jesper, and a nice line out of there from Keith. Didn't have the best qualifying, but he's having a very, very good race so far. Sets the fastest lap, as you can see. Eduardo's just peeking out, just letting Jesper know he's there. Just a little bit tempting there. Jesper's gone very, very deep again. Eduardo's just sniffing around behind him.
Where Kane is making up all of his time is in the final sector. Kane had leapfrogged himself onto the back of Eduardo through that final chicane. He seems to have a specific line through there, but actually Yuri Braham is quicker than him through sector 1, so that's why he keeps on toing and throwing back. But that little battle was letting Dan Asbury, Andre Bogdan, Gardner, Ahmed, Sherlock and Sheppingen, climb onto the back of them, so that'll be a good little train coming up soon.
Yeah, now with Dan Asbury, he really made a bit of a mistake, it seemed, in sector 1 there, because he lost quite a bit of ground too to Kane. Yeah, he just seemed to have lost a bit of ground. And here's Simon. So we've got Asbury, Bogdan, Gardner, Ahmed and Skurlock, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Remember, the top 8 get reversed for the second race, so 8th place is absolutely key towards getting a good result in the second race, because it gives you pole position. You fly through the Schumacher S's. Yuri's ladder there, giving the camera a face full.
Just off your screens, Paul Wood has overtaken Daniel Wood for 15th position as well.
So Paul was doing well. Considering where he had to start because of the particular disconnection, gets past his teammate, his Team Australia Racing teammate. Just up ahead of these guys, Mr. Eric Nelson, having a little look at Mr. Darius Sudirki. These are 2 of the guys who had a poor qualifying, so they'll be looking to move up. They've not moved up very far, though, have they, Simon?
They've not. They've broken away from the cars behind, but they've not really impacted on the cars ahead. And you've got Stefan Werner, who looks quite pleased with himself in 12th position, able to hold back Swiderski and Nelson really, really clobbering the curbs actually through that final chicane. And into the pits comes Darius Swiderski, and that's, I think, the first one in, as Eduardo Prado has spun on the last corner and has dropped down to 11th position.
Oh, there he is. What on earth happened there? Perhaps he just changed down gears too violently in that BMW. Does not like hard braking.
Well, it's not changed anything up front, because Keith Barrick is still leading from Tolbert. Lasky to 3rd, Braham 4, Asbury 5, Bogdan 6, Sherlock 7 with Ahmed all over the back of him in 8, Sheppingen 9 and Werner now moves up into 10, but Prado is now back in the thick of it, and if he's going to make any impression on this race, he's going to have to do all of his passing on the track now.
You would have thought that's his chance gone really as well, considering the talent up front and the consistency that those guys pull out as well. It's very, very hard for him to move up from there. Another one of the guys who pitted was Simon Gardner, who was in that battle for 6th place before he pitted. So he's back there with Swiderski. I think Peterson's pitted as well now, although he was near the back of the field after spinning due to somebody else's accident. Barker has opened up a huge lead really in ATCC terms over Mr. Jesper Tarberg. 2.5 second lead. Look at this, he's got clear air in behind him. Amazing pace there from Mr. Barrick. He'll be pleased with that, but the best battle at the moment seems to be Mr. Kane Lasky versus Yuri Braham. Kane, our pole sitter again, remember, simply stunning lap over 0.206.8. Only person to dip into the 6s, and Yuri in behind him in the Lada diesel, which It's not the sexiest of machines, really, is it, Simon?
Well, no, but I wouldn't pick it out of bed for eating biscuits. But down into Yuri does seem to take much wider lines. He's got much more of a sweeping corner about him, or he takes much more sweeping radiuses into a lot of these corners, which then makes him have much more cleaner exits from the corners, whereas Kane seems to be very, very rigid in his defence, and that is why he's just not able to make any impact at all on Jasper Tolberg, and just seems to be falling more into the clutches of Braham, who's now falling more into the clutches of the Asbury, Bogdan and Sherlock battle. So they're all just kind of affecting each other and falling into each other's clutches, which is just allowing Keith to run away with it.
I'm seeing very defined different sectors here, as everyone will know that the Nurburgring circuit is there's very, very different sectors. There's a twisty part at the start, then a fast flowing bit in the middle, then a twisty part again at the end. And it seems with Dan again, it seems that one person will catch with one sector, lose another sector, so it's very, very even that way over lap time, but not much in terms of the actual really, really close racing that we've come to see occasionally before.
Ethan Bass and Robert Isles are having a great battle over 15 and 16, but into the pits this lap round as Simon Gardner and Swiderski go through. Eduardo Prada, Leonardo Tuma, Reese Gardner and Willie Watt are all in the pits, but they've all lost out because actually Darius Swiderski and Simon Gardner have leapfrogged all of them, so that showed that they pitted at the right time. Yeah, so Eduardo Prado is really slipping down the order to the point, as Tuma and Gardner actually collect each other down at turn 1. Yeah, poor old Prado is out in 25th and last position.
25th and last? What on earth went wrong there? Did he repair some damage? Because he wasn't that far behind these guys. He's 11th place, and that was still ahead of Tuma, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
so way behind Tuma.
He's came out way behind, so
well.
maybe he smacked the barrier down in that final corner in his spin.
Perhaps, maybe had to repair some suspension, although it's not usually advisable. As long as you've got a wheel on your car and a tyre that is inflated, it's not really recommended to mend your car during a pit stop in these sprint races. It's just not worth the time. You never gain it back. And as you can see, he's given up a lot of track position. But of course, Simon Gardner was ahead of him before the pit stop anyway, so...
Jesper Tolberg completely missed, sorry to interrupt you there, Jesper Tolberg completely missed that chicane, and I was just riding with him and thought, as Keith Barrick pops into the pits, so our leader is in the pits, Tolberg goes round, Braham goes round too, but so that is going to hand the lead back to Jesper Tolberg. Yuri Braham goes into second, but Barrick and Lasky, Asbury and Bogdan and Sherlock and Ahmed are all in.
So Lasky in. Here's Lasky's pit stop. There's Barrett just ahead. In goes Asbury for his pit stop. Through goes one of the Toledos. And there's Ahmed in his Gulf livery going through as well. That's a very, very good stop there for Keith. Gets out. It's a nice smooth stop. Now with Asbury as well. And they're all coming in. They're all flying into their pit stops. Oh,
yeah,
very, very close. Ahmed, look at the time Ahmed has gained on Asbury in the pits there. Ahmed was a couple of seconds behind, if I recall correctly.
Absolutely.
He's come out right behind, right alongside Asbury. Lets him have the line into this corner there. Looking for the switchback, I'm sure, but no, he's going to look wide himself anyway, so he won't make it back there. That was interesting from those two.
No switcheroos taking place there. Ethan Bass may well have just been played into a key hand, because Keith Barrick, who has pitted, has just passed to Ethan Bass, who has not, and that now puts Ethan Bass in between himself and Kane Lasky, so that therefore puts another barrier in the way. Just on the pit stops, Michael V. Sheppingen actually nearly crashed into the pit wall when he entered into the pits where he slowed for the line, so he was very lucky to escape with that.
Let's go on board with Jesper, because he'll surely be pitting very, very soon, so we'll go on board and we'll show people quite how tight the pit entry is. It can be quite, especially if you make a last minute decision to come in.
And look how Yuri's closed right up to the back of him now that Lasky's out the way.
Yeah, absolutely, and Jesper's not showing the pace that we expected really of the Danish #1 driver at race department, and that is all power. And the smooth lines that you were talking about, Yuri, here we are with the, especially if here we go. If you make a late decision, it can be quite difficult to get into the pits. But Yuri, with this flowing line jockey was saying, will really hold the tyres together much better than those tight lines that anybody else takes as well. So he gains lots of time there under brakes onto the limiter as well. Much braver than Talbot, but still gets out in front. Keith
Much
Barkley
better brake
expected,
bias.
yeah, or just braver into the pits perhaps. Knows perhaps he's picked up a bit more than Jesper has, a bit more preparation, knowing exactly where to brake and get the most out of it. Keith is going to come through and take the lead. Of course, he was leading by a good 3.5 seconds from Tolbert before the pit stops, and he looks to have kept that advantage. Kane's now coming down towards. It's going to be close between Yuri, Kane, and Jesper. Here comes Kane. There's Yuri on the inside. Squeezes across, but Jesper's going to be ahead of Kane. And yes, Kane's gone too wide. Lasky's gone down to 4th, and Yuri gets a net gain out of those pit stops. He's up to 3rd, so that pace he showed driving up to the back of Jesper so quickly has really paid off. And of course, he'll have fresher tyres now over Lasky. Oh, he got a bit wide there, just put the mockers on him there a little bit. So, but he managed to get it up again, and that diesel torque should pull him out the corner. But we're heading down, and he's got Lasky's got a run on him, but no, not quite. Oh, look at the sideways there from Yuri. Fantastic car control. Really excellent there from Yuri. Pushing as hard as he can to stay ahead of Lasky, but it's costing him time each time he does this. And Lasky is looking, is sniffing around, but he wants that place back. That Persia looks so much bigger than that Lada. And Lasky goes for the pass there, but was never really on. Further back in the field, Abdul is up to 7th place now, and so it seems that Mr. Bogdan has lost quite a few places. Yeah, it's down to 10th, look. And he was up in 7th before, fighting for that 6th position along with Gardner, Skurlock, and a couple of other guys. Ahmed as well. Reese has not really made the progress we expect him to make either. He's down to 17th still. And Eduardo in 23rd. Really not a good race there for Eduardo, but he is passing a few guys at the moment. Who's he passed?
Oh, it's Willie White and Robert Isle.
Oh, here we are.
Because those two have taken each other off down at the Dunlop hairpin, Willie Watt and Robert Isle. So that's a shame for Robert Isle because he was doing a good move earlier on another one of the midfielders. But there's Eduardo Prado now up into 20th, and who's next on his list? It's Ethan Bass, and Bass is giving it all the wiggle around that chicane. Not going to quite help him as they go through the bit curve.
There's a fastest lap from Keith on his first lap out with his, well, not second lap out, sorry, with his new tyres, 207.8, which is fantastic race pace. And Glenn Peterson is sniffing all over the back of Eduardo Prado. Eduardo's wanting to get past Ethan, but Ethan's not making it easy for him.
Oh, as Darius Skurtsky has left the game.
Yes. I wonder if that was a disconnect because he wasn't going badly. And of course, in R Factor there's no... in race, sorry. R Factor in the brain. In race, he's back in for race 2. But Eduardo lost a lot of ground there to Ethan Pate as well. And Peterson is all over the back of it. Eduardo, remember, qualified on the front row, crashed on lap 4, was it, Simon? Into the final corner hairpin. At least spun it anyway. Dropped down to 11th place, made his pit stop and has emerged down in the 23rd, 24th position, and is now up to 19th, but really still struggling. Not quite sure what's wrong with his car. Perhaps there's more wrong with his car than we know about.
But judging by his lines, it's like he needs some. It's like he's trying to do an orienteering session. He really needs to stay on the track because he's taking too many wide lines and taking too much of the off-track excursions, and it's just not working out for him at all. And Glenn Peterson was the first man to pop into the pit, so his tyres are going to be more buggered than most. And Ethan Bass was the last person to pit, so he's kind of really got it up against him. Quick rundown of the order then, as there's a great battle going on for 7th and 8th actually between Abdul Ahmed and Tyler Sherlock side by side round bit curve, and that is Ahmed through on Tyler. But Tyler's
on the outside. Look at that move, around the outside, and he's got the place. Fantastic move there from Tyler. Sorry, Simon, for cutting the crossway there, but that was an amazing move.
Very legard of you.
I apologise. That was a fantastic driving manoeuvre from there from Skurlock. Fighting straight back at Abdul. Kudos to Abdul as well. He didn't try and squeeze him off the track, so it was very, very fair racing. That's what we like to see. It's what we associate with the American Touring Car Championship. Sorry, Simon, you were doing a rundown of the order.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
Let's jump up to the battle for 5th and 6th actually. Although now that I've said that, they've actually separated ever so slightly because Simon Gardner is desperately trying to hold off Dan Asbury, and Asbury has been busy on the offensive all race, but has yet to actually overtake anyone. And judging by that kind of wide action by Simon Gardner, that could be his best opportunity if he can just do the switcheroo back on the inside and take the inside line for the next corner.
No,
could
not
well
quite.
work out, but no, he's too far back, isn't he?
It's moving all over the place, looking for a little bit of a gap. He thought about it. You could see him thinking about diving into that wide entry there, but then saw that Simon running very wide over the curve there as well. But yes, we have Barrick in first place at the moment with a 5-second lead over Jesper Talbot. That's pretty much a calendar month in these ATCC races. It's looking very, very strong for the win there. Yuri Braham in third place, having jumped Kane Lasky in the pit stops, showing some good pace in the Lada 110D. As I say, Lasky in fourth, Simon here, as we're watching him, in 5th place, with Asbury hunting all over behind him. And there's Tyler Skurlock and Abdul Ahmed also having a good battle in behind, although Abdul has just dropped back a little bit from Tyler now and dropped into the clutches of Bogdan, who's moved back up from 11th place. So he's pulled his way back up the field because he was qualified in 11th, moved up 7th in the first stint, and is now back up to 9th after dropping to 11th after the pit stop. So he's looking good for a good result here. And of course, this is the battle for 8th place, which is so key for the second race pole position. So there's such a big difference between 8th and 9th. If you're 9th in the first race, you're 9th in the second race, but if you're 8th in the first race, you're pole for race 2. So it's obviously very, very key to get that position, and Cameron O'Dara obviously wants it. Back in 10th place here we have Michael Van Schappigan trying to fend off Stefan Werner in behind, and Eric Nelson, who's just gradually moved his way up through the field, is now in 12th place, having started back in 17th. He's not made the progress that I would expect him to make, and he's run very, very wide there onto the grass, lost a little bit of time. Back in 13th place we have Mr. Daniel Wood for Team Australia Racing, with Leonardo Tuma and Mr. Paul Wood, Daniel's brother, again for Team Australia Racing, in 15th place. Another Australian, Mr. Reese Gardner, in 16th place, driving to Track Devil Racing this year, alongside Stefan Werner and Darius Widerski. 17th place we have Michael Carver, the steady Eddie of the field, really, always turns out a good result, always finishes the race. Last season finished 4th in the championship, just due to some decent consistent results, and really shows what consistency can do for a driver if they just keep it together and finish all the races. As we say, runner up top 20 we've got Eduardo Prado, Ethan Bass and Glenn Peterson, with Willie Watts, Robert Isles, Eric Estes and John Seidenstricker bringing up the rear. We'll just jump back now towards the battle for 6th and 7th place we can, if Ryan sorts out his oh, we're going to people in the pits now, there we are. There's Jesper in 2nd place. And Dan Asbury, and Dan has got past Simon. So apologies for missing that. But Dan has got past Simon, and Simon is again looking hungry back again though, but looks like Dan has got the better tyre life, like we were talking about earlier. They're now into lap 11. So just 2 laps to go after this one.
Darius Swiderski has just popped into the chat room to say that he had a power failure at his house.
Poor Darius.
So not his fault that one, so that's unfortunate there for Darius to have a retirement there. And also, just while you was running down the order, we had a couple of changes of positions with passes on the track. One of them is about to be the battle for 10 and 11 with Stefan Werner all over the back of Eric Nelson as they come down to the chicane. Nelson having to go take a very defensive line, but that's going to leave him wrong if it's around the outside. Here comes Stefan Werner for the next cut through, I think, but that's actually pushed Daniel Wood into Leonardo Tuma for the final corner, and Daniel Wood Daniel Wood into the pit wall.
Into the
and
pit
that
wall.
Is out.
It's gone sideways,
surely.
and he won't recover from there, surely. His engine will be dead. Yes, engine is dead, and Daniel Wood is out. That's a very strange mistake to make, especially in a front-wheel drive car. I'm quite surprised by that.
It's so easy to make into that corner though. I've done it a few times. It's a bit like the Hungary pit lane entrance. You can quite easily smack the barrier in that one as well. But the other...
Of course, you have to
go for it.
Because you're always taking a very tight line anyway, so when Stefan Werner looks underneath Eric Nelson there, you're taking a very tight line anyway, so it obviously creates that possibility. It's unusual to see in a front-wheel drive car, which is usually able to correct the car much easier than it is in a rear-wheel drive car, as Eric Nelson is still going very defensive from Stefan Werner, just cannot shake off. And Stefan just pushing it a little bit too hard there. Michael Vedchak again just ahead of these two.
Just off your screens, Rhys Gardner and Eduardo Prado have both overtaken Paul Wood and Ethan Bass as well, so they've now moved up to 14th and 15th respectively as they continue their attempted charge up the field.
Right, here's a quandary. What happened to Abdul Ahmed? What's he doing back in 13th place? Did you see what happened there?
He bungled it.
I did see, well, clearly, but I did see some dust and some smoke at the first turn. Some gravel being spat up into the road. So I did wonder what happened then. I wonder if that was him, just off at the first turn. There's a couple of laps to go.
The 7th placed Tyler Sherlock is attacking Mr. Gardner, and Simon going far too deep into the corner for 6th position.
I've lost that position,
and loses the position.
Defend as well. Look. And Keith Barker's won. Sorry, we've been talking about all that. Keith Barker's won the race. Second place, Jesper Tal was 7 seconds behind. It's a big win for Barrick. Third place, Yuri Brown. 4th, Kane Lasky. 5th, crossing the line just ahead. Natalia Skolak is Dan Asbrit. 7th is Simon. Simon been kicking himself for that last lap corner mistake. 8th, Karen Midara, Andrew Bogdan. Coming across the line now, 9th is Van Scheppingen. 8th, Bogdan will get the pole position for the second race. 10th, Nelson. 11th, Werner. Nelson just managed to hold off Werner for that 10th place. It was a hard-fought battle, and Nelson had to gradually pull his way up through the field there. Ahmed in 13th, Prado in 14th, Gardner in 15th. Those were 3 guys who were very disappointed with their result, considering where they were or where they expected to be in Gardner's particular case. Paul Wood in 16th, Ethan Bass 17th. He pulled himself up quite well in the end, actually 17th. Peterson 18th, Watt in 19th, Mr. Carver in 20th. As we go across the line, Mr. Robert Isles is in 21st, Eric Asted 22nd, and we're still waiting for the final position, I think, which will be Mr. Simon Stricker. If we can just get him to cross the line, please, Mr. Simon Stricker. There he is, crossing the line now, I think. Weaving in the light and he managed to finish the race.
Just a quick update on Reggie Blaine. He said he had a screen freeze as soon as he went over the start-finish line on lap 1, so that explains why his car just disappeared off the circuit.
Oh, such a shame. In 24th place, Daniel is classified, with 25th place, the multi-BC broadcast look, and 26th place is Chris Sykes, and 27th was you, Mr. Simon. Well done to you, and you beat Linus Brostrom to 28th. So condolences there to Mr. Swiderski and Mr. Blaine, but congratulations to Keith Barrick for that dominant win there. Picked up 2 places at the start after the confusion over Mr. Kane Lasky's starting procedure, I suppose you could call it. While Jesper Talgo came in a strong 2nd place, although well beaten in the end. Barrick really showing excellent pace, with Braham just a 2nd behind in the ladder. And now we're here at race 2. Did you enjoy that race, Simon? Any thoughts? Any impressions you had from the first race there?
Yeah, it was a good giggle, that. Nice close racing from everyone. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Good little bit of smasheroo as well, which always pleases my appetite. And I'm I'm very pumped up for race 2 actually, because of course this is the big feature, and I do prefer a standing start to a rolling one. Don't know why. I think it's a European thing.
I'm with you on that one, I think. So let's try and find some starters here. There we are. Get to the grid. So, lineup for the grid is Karen Midara, Andrew Bogdan on pole position, courtesy of his 8th place in race 1. On the front row alongside him will be Simon Gardner. in his All Racing Peugeot 407. Third place will line up Harris Scarlett, with Dan Asbury just behind in the BMW. Look for him at the start with his rear-wheel drive starting power. Kane Lasky in 5th, Yuri Braham in 6th, Jesper Tarberg 7th, and race 1 winner Keith Barrick in 8th place. Back in 9th, we'll see Michael van Scheppingen, and Eric Nelson rounds out the top 10. Again, Eduardo Prado is going to have to come from the back and see what he can do with the rest of his race. It'd be nice to hear from him to see what happened with him. There's Mr. Bogdan flashing his lights on the grid. This is a standing start, remember this one, so once we go, we're away. And I have no idea when the red lights will go, Simon, so if you could tell me.
No problem.
We're not seeing how
We're about to go very shortly. Chris Sykes is not taking this start, by the way. He's not joined onto the track.
No.
And here we are off.
We are. Bogdan gets a good start, but there's Asbury on the inside. Again, getting that position away from the top 2. Garner slots in, Bogdan defends across, moves across the track, but Asbury's taking it down to the first corner. Bogdan there defending very hard from Simon Gardner. Round the outside comes Mr. Skurlock. Stansbury takes us into the Mercedes complex for the first time. Behind we can see that Skurlock is 4th, Torbo 5th, Barrick up to 6th already, again ahead of Lasky. Lasky's had a poor start once again, and Barrick's got ahead of Tarberg. If we can just see that here, yes we can.
Good start by Eduardo Prado up to 8 there. And everyone made it safely round turn 1.
And Jesper Tarberg's dropped back. What's happened to Jesper Tarberg? Back to 8th. Maybe back to 9th if he gets pushed behind. Oh, someone's gone off there. That's Michael van Scheppingen in the Peugeot, FDR Peugeot, and side by side, Yuri and Eduardo and Lasky. And Bogdan is looking to get that first place back from Dan Asbury. Of course, the front wheel drive temperatures will come up a little bit quicker than they will on the BMW, so the opening laps is where they have a slight advantage. So fly to this straight here, Asbury, Bogdan, Gardner, Skurlock, Barrick, Lasky, Prado, Graham, as quick as that. Back down to 9th place has gone Jesper Tarberg. He's had a nightmare of a first lap, really. He was ahead of Barrick going into the first section of corners, but now back in 9th place. Barrick is hunting all over the back of Skurlock, who's already got a defensive. Skurlock's on a nice run on Gardner here. Into the flat out king. Gardner will have to concede the position. Go now down, but he's got the inside line again into the quality. See Barrick then weaving around on the inside, looking for any opportunity to get past these two. But everyone slots in nicely. Well defended there from Gardner. But then through comes Skurlock again, up the inside. And pushes Gardner out of the way, and through goes Barrick. Barrick's got ahead of and Lasky and Prado as well. So just one move there on Eduardo, on Sam
Look
Gardner.
at the leaders.
3 places. Leaders. Let's skip ahead. Asbury's gone
that's Dan Asbury's gone far too wide, and that goes yoink, says Camaraderio Andre Bogdan, back into the lead. And here they were side by side down the straight, and actually Dan Asbury had the place, but unfortunately wasn't able to keep it. Brakes far too late in there. Sherlock now onto the back of them, with Barrett keeping the watching brief and forward. Lasky 5, and Gardner there has slipped back, because this has quickly become a 5-horse race at the moment up front. And Michael Scheppingen is already in the pits, and Michael Carver is missing a front bumper, so I imagine those two have made contact somewhere.
And where's Eduardo Prado gone? Has he disappeared down the water again? Eduardo Prado having a nightmare. 2 races here, down to 13th. Not sure what happened. He was ahead going into the first section. Obviously something's gone wrong in the Mercedes arena section there. Look how far down he's gone, Simon. That's just a terrible nightmare race. But after that, all that hard work in the opening lap as well, and just thrown it all away in the space of one mistake. Up front, less than a second covering the top 4, but it seems Bogdan's got a bit of a break there from Asbury. And behind Skurlock's under big pressure here from race 1 winner Barrick. Behind Barrick is Kane Lasky, who doesn't seem to quite have the race pace. Just a couple of tenths here and there, giving way to the top guys. Gardner managed to fend off Braham for 6th as he fly through down up to the chicane. Barwick again very, very close to the back of Skurlock, but not able to make a move. Lasky in behind, just keeping a watching brief. Any action further back, Simon?
Yeah, there's been some problems going on further back with Eric Este and Rhys Gardner have taken each other off and have dropped down to the back of the order. And apart from that, Willie Watt, I was going to say something far too not broadcastable for that, as here comes Tyler Sherlock actually in for second position, pushing poor Dan Asbury out of the way. They're going to go side by side round into turn 2, and Asbury's got the inside line for the next place. He just needs to make sure he covers that inside line when they come out of this corner that they're coming into here, because he's going to be slightly wrong-footed if he isn't able to do so. Let's see what Asbury can do. Oh, he's going to have to run the corner quite quickly.
He's going to have to... Sorry, Simon.
No, go for it.
I think Skurlock had to give away the position there because he cut the corner so much, and he's had to give away position to Barwick in the process. So because he cut the corner so much, and sportingly and under regulations have to give the position back, he can't gain any time or positions by cutting the corners. He's had to give the position back. So now Barwick is up to third. Lasky almost got past him as well. Asbury's gone too deep. Asbury's gone far too deep, and through goes Barwick. It just gives Asbury a little nudge out of the way. Nothing wrong or toward with that.
Yuri Braham's just gone into the gravel down at the Dunlop hairpin and has slipped back to 10th position.
Oh dear, Yuri. He was moving up well in the first couple of laps, almost got past the ground, dropped back a little bit, and then obviously that mistake there. And now Skurlock is all over the back of Asbury once again. Skurlock sideways, and Skurlock has tapped the back of Asbury. Asbury has gone off the track. I think he was already sideways when Skurlock came across to hit him. And Asbury has dropped all the way back down to 14th place, now in behind Robert Isles and just ahead of Ethan Bates. So that's very unfortunate there from... He was the leader for the first lap of the race before Bogdan took his place. Oh, just thank you, Mr. Cameraman. So now in second place is Barwick with a clear sight ahead of him to the leader, Mr. Karamidaro Andrei Bogdan. So that double win that Keith Barwick was talking about to you, Simon, looks like it's going well so far. Quite a big gap that we have to make up.
Matthias Clean has just popped into the chat room to say that he had screen freezes, and it only ever happens when there's in a broadcasted event, so he feels a little bit cursed at the moment. As Rhys Gardner has passed John Seidenstreicher, I will say it right, for 20th position, which moves him up the order from his return, and Daniel Wood has moved up into a rather clever 10th place at the moment, which should be pleasing for him.
It's going very well. But poor Rhys is not having the best of races in the race that's dedicated to his grandfather. He was obviously hoping for a lot better, but qualified quite poorly and has raced quite poorly so far, getting caught up in incidents and not been particularly quick.
Eduardo Prado's just moved up into 12th past Robert Isles as well, so once again another charge up the field for Eduardo, not making life easy for himself today.
He's not, and now Jesper Talborg, after dropping down into 9th place at one point, is passing, as we say, just to say he's just behind Simon Garner, but he's past Mr. Simon Garner into the Dunlop hairpin. The scene of Yuri Braham's unfortunate outbreaking incident a couple of laps ago, and Talborg is on the march. He'll be looking to get up into the pole positions at least. As now Skurlock is very, very close in behind Mr. Lasky. I can't remember, Simon, did Lasky got ahead of Skurlock there? Was Skurlock already behind? Lasky, I think Lasky got ahead of Skurlock.
He has indeed. That happened last lap.
Yes. So we missed that somewhere. Opening 7th place is Eric Nelson, so he's moved forward well from his, I think, 10th place, wasn't it?
So here comes Braham, just behind there in 9th, onto the back of Abdul Ahmed. Not quite able to get that opportunity working, but I think that's more of a case as Abdul is going to go into the pits, as does Eric Nelson as well. So they're all starting to stream in nice and early on. And the leaders will be coming up.
First race though.
No, not at all. The leaders will be coming up to lap traffic very shortly, because Michael Streppingen has already pitted at the end of lap 1, so they will be attaching him soon. Also into the pits this time by is Stefan Werner, Glenn Peterson, Reece Gardner and Willie Watt.
And Stefan, sorry in the background there when we're watching Eric Nelson enter the pits, came charging into the pit lane. Very, very, very committed on the entry. I did think he was not going to get slowed down in time. And look at the ground he's made up on the guys in front of him. I wonder if he got a pit lane speeding penalty for that, because he was very, very fast into the pits. But if he hasn't, look at the time he's gained. Really shows what commitment can do for you. It's unbelievable charge. It just locked up all 4 wheels, getting it down to the correct speed. And Reece has rejoined as well, as we can see in the Volvo S60. The Tractor Racing, Willie Watt just in behind him, Glenn Peterson just ahead. If we just, thank you, scroll back through the field. There's Caramador Andrew Bogdan, who's leading the race, a little bit wide and a little bit leery through the Schumacher S's there. Just behind is Keith Berg. He's not making a huge amount of impression just yet, but you can feel that he has the measure of Bogdan, and he will gain slowly but surely. In 4th place, Skurlock has just lost a little ground to Lasky, who again is just hanging on to the coattails of Barrick in this opening segments. Looking a bit stronger than they did in the first race, but still not quite got the pace to stay with Barrick, despite his amazing pole position. Not too many battles in the field just at the moment. Let's join one for 8th position. Here we are.
I was going to say, P8's not looking too bad. Daniel Wood there going far too hot into the chicane, but Eduardo Prado not really helping himself over as Daniel Wood slots into the pits, following in Yuri Braham, who is also in this lap round. So that's going to remove them. Isles in 2, as is Leonardo Tuma. Paul Wood continues down. Ethan Bass pops in, which is just as well because he was taking rather unusual lines into that fast chicane. John Seidenstreicher 2 is into the pits this time by. So that should release a couple of people. Eric Estes is also in, which will help out Abdul Ahmed because he was stuck behind him on his outlap. So that should help him keep his position.
The Bidudu driver's having a little bit of a difficulty in this second race again. Eduardo with his, we're not quite sure what happened to him, but he disappeared down the field, and obviously Asbury with his spin, which he caught while he was battling with Skurlock and Barrick. And he's there now, line astern, just a little bit apart on the track. Just head up the field a little bit more. As we can see, a quick rundown of the positions. Barrick is gaining on Bogdan, who is in the lead. 3rd place is Lasky, 4th is Skurlock, 5th Tarbox, 6th Gardner, 7th Eduardo Prado, and 8th Dan Asbury. This is before the pit stops, of course, so we're looking for a few people to move back through the pack once the pit stops are filtered out. And Eric Nelson has got ahead, I do believe, of Abdul Ahmed, or was he already ahead before, Simon? I can't quite remember. It's too exciting.
It's all far too exciting. You've
look at this
yourself.
Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's Michael Carver missing his front bumper. He has not pitted yet, and he's just been passed by Eric Nelson. And through comes Ahmed as well, leaving plenty of room, obviously, because he's not racing really for their position.
Carver was caught up with the lap 1 incident early on, and has been missing that bumper all race, and has done very well actually to keep himself going at a relatively decent pace. But he's now going to fall into the clutches of Stefan Werner, who's got Daniel Wood, who's just pitted, just popping in a little bit behind, and Michael Carver, a bit of a moving roadblock at the moment, but getting his little claim to fame as into the pits this time by come Keith Barrick and again Lasky and Tyler and Simon Gardner and Eduardo Prada and Dan Asbury and Paul Wood. So everyone deciding this is the lap to pop in. Just Camry Dario, Andre Bogdan and Jesper Tolborg keeping themselves going.
Bogdan just like to am I on? I am on, indeed I am. Bogdan just like to keep his pit stop till late. I've noticed that from racing him. He just like to wait until the latter stage of the race. A lot of drivers like to pit in the early stage of the race to get that track position. But obviously he likes to keep his tyres in the best life possible for the final stint, and he's very sideways through there, but he's still in the lead of the race with a 5.6 second lead over Talborg. Still Barrett and last to come out the pits.
Interestingly there, Yeah, I was going to say, just where all the pit stops are starting to fall themselves out, Keith Barrick is stayed ahead of Lasky. Gardner has moved, it's kept ahead of Braham, but Braham has jumped Tyler Sherlock. Sherlock's really lost out in the pit stops and slipped down to 7. Nelson is out ahead of Ahmed, and Prado has beat Werner out. Robert Isles stays in 12 with Tuma 13. Peterson has jumped Paul Wood. Paul Wood has really lost out. Daniel Wood has lost his front bumper and has lost out to everyone as he slips down the field. And Ethan Bass has jumped Reece Gardner again, because those two were the other way round beforehand. And 19th and 20th are just swapping positions in front of my very eyes, and that is Dan Asbury basically pushing Willie Watt out of the way.
A real battle for 8th again. Eric Nelson ahead of Abdul Ahmed. Those two Peugeots seem to have been locked together at all race.
Little love
Nelson again in lots and lots of battles. Let's check out a few of the leaders. Let's see where
Bogdan's popping in.
Yep, see where he pops out. Is Tarborg coming as well? Yep, Tarborg's in as well. So box for Tarborg. In the box for Bogdan. Let's see where Barrick emerges ahead of Bogdan. Before the pit stop, Barrick had a 1.1 second deficit to Bogdan. So we'll see what happens here. Barrick has pitted earlier, so that one lap on slightly fresher tyres might do it for him, or he might get a better, might have a better pit stop, of course, as well. Barrick comes round the final corner.
Bogdan's leaving his box.
Bogdan's leaving the box. Can he get out ahead of Barrick? It's a long pit lane. It seems interminable when you're waiting. And no, through comes Barrick. Barrick's going to take the lead. The men's going to take him past. Lasky's going to go through
Lasky's
as well,
going to
I
go
think.
second.
Yes, he is. And so Bogdan, that late pit stop has not worked out for him at all. 7th place. Oh, but Lasky's gone deep. But manages to stay just ahead of Bogdan. Bogdan's going to have a little bit fresher tyres now as well. So we'll see what Bogdan can do. Been looking very aggressive this race. Down the inside. Not going to happen there. Bogdan quite try not to do that. But sensibly leaves a little bit of room, as does Lasky. Cut across the corner quite a lot there, Mr. Bogdan.
I was going to say, that's Lasky's own doing, because he went so defensive into that corner as there goes Lasky on the defensive again, but Lasky went so defensive into that corner, it put him so wrong-footed when he didn't need to, because he didn't need to cover off someone coming up to speed, coming out of the pits when he's already at full speed. So Lasky nearly lost his second place for his own over-cautiousness in a way.
Yes, he did swing across quite violently in front of Bogdan to keep that position. Obviously he's anxious to keep it. Simon Gardner's having 5th place. Another strong showing from Simon Gardner here. Eric has moved himself up to 8th. Tyler, as you say, has missed out quite a lot in the pit stops, down to 7th place. Barrick now has a 2-second lead over Lasky, so we've got Barrick after pit stops now. It's Barrick, Lasky, Bogdan, Tarborg, 5th Gardner, 6th Brayhan, 7th Skurlock, 8th is Eric Nelson, with Ahmed and Prado rounding out the 9th and 10th positions, which looks like the best position battle on the track at the moment, actually, between Eric Nelson, Ahmed and Mr. Prado. We'll just check the rest of the field as well for you, as you can see on the screen there. And after he's down in 19th, so more troubles there. And Ahmed is making a move on Nelson, but does Nelson have enough pace around the outside to keep the inside into the chicane? He does. Who's brave with the brakes? And excellent move there from Ahmed. Outbrakes Nelson into the chicane and goes straight through, and immediately Barrick, on his first properly flying lap out of the pits, posted his fastest lap of the race at 207.9. Again showing fantastic pace in the race here. He'll be pleased with his performance today, aside from qualifying. Actually, lately in qualifying he's not been doing too well, but racing has always been strong, so just needs to work on his qualifying a bit more and he might win by even more seconds. Make his life even easier.
Well, it's all what happens at the end of the race is what really counts. So long as he's the first man to see the checkered flag, I don't suppose if it matters if he starts from last or first, but surely it would just make his life definitely a little bit easier, as you would say. And he is pulling away as well from Kane Lasky, who is now seems to, he's got his tyres up to temperature, he's able to keep Andre Bogdan at bay for the time being. So that looks like that battle has come to an end just for now. Jesper Tolberg or Burg, sorry, is all on his own now in fourth, with Gardner pulling away from Braham, and Sherlock not really making much of an impression there. Ahmed has got ahead of Nelson now. Nelson is falling into the clutches of Eduardo Prado, so that's looking like a battle that potentially could happen, as Prado feeling the need to... Oh!
Into the back of Ahmed there.
You don't want to ram one up the behind there for Eduardo Prado, but Nelson
we don't
able
do
to
any
keep...
walks of life, do we?
No, well, I don't know, it depends. But everything is permutation. Yeah, depends on your taste, if you like Bravo. But Eric Nelson there just about... Oh, Eric Nelson far too deep into that chicane, and he's going to compromise his entry into this corner, which will compromise his entry, and all his speed down the straight. A little bit of a sitting quacker.
And Prado has the inside. Again, it's a carbon copy of last lap. Nelson is finding himself on the inside into this corner here, but this time Prado gets ahead even before the braking zone. So Nelson loses 2 places in 2 laps. So he's plummeting down the field at the moment.
He's made a hash of that chicane as well, so that will potentially throw him into the path of Stefan Werner, who is busy pulling away from Robert Isle, and Ryle has made a very quiet race this time round, and has been quite effective to get himself up into 12th. Best battle on track
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say best battle on track was 18 and 19, but they just sorted themselves out. Ethan Bass was just desperately trying to hold off Willie Watt, but Watt backed out of it before they got to the chicane.
And what's happened there? Has Yuri gone ahead of... There we are, here's a big battle here. Yuri and Skurlock having a big battle. Skurlock has caught up to the back of Yuri. He's come out now of the very wide there from Yuri. Down into the S's. So Skurlock's obviously got his skates on after the pit stop, despite that poor pit stop, and is now battling Yuri for that 6th position. It's very sideways into that corner there, well held there from Skurlock. Let's go on board now with Yuri. We're not very much on board racing this race so far. Let's go on a bit of ATC taste of an action, shall we? Looking back now at Skurlock into the downhill braking zone. Look at the way Skurlock gains on the brakes there and still gets an excellent exit. Look at it's a perfect line there from Skurlock. Uses all the track and more into the Schumacher S's, which is generally quite flat out, but with front wheel drive cars, it's very important to get the line right, or you get too much tyre scrub and lose just that extra mile an hour, which costs you on the exit up into these corners here. Braking hard now, get it into the camber here, clip the apex there, run wide, make sure you get back across the track for this corner here, which is a little bit longer and tighter than the corner before. It's very easy to treat it exactly the same, but they're 2 completely different corners really. And now into the flat out kink leading towards the chicane. Is Skurlock going to have a little go into the chicane? He's looking, now decides against it. Into the chicane, bumps over one curve, bumps on the next curve, and Skurlock's not quite done that corner as well as he did the corners before. Lost a little bit of ground. Can Yuri use that to pull away? Out of the final corner, down. It's very fast straight, very good for the powerful cars here, like the Lada, which has got a lot of torque off the corner. That's 413 pounds of torque, which is almost, I think, twice as much as most of the cars here, so it really helps the cars. And there's Michael van der Schoppen coming out of the pits again. He's obviously had problems this race. And Skurlock is looking much better under the braking zones, isn't he, Simon, than Graham?
Definitely, he seems to have much more confidence in the car. Brian, of course, we saw go off earlier in the race down at Dunlop hairpin and dropped down to 10th. He's made a good recovery back up to 6th, but Tyler's definitely had much more oomph, much more of a woof or a ruff behind him. In a way, if we were to give him an animal noise, whereas that's wrong way to do that.
He's off. That's not the way to do it. Off goes Yuri Braham into the gravel trap. Flicks one way, flicks the other way. Obviously got too wide, pushing too hard. Skurlock's pressure obviously paid off. So now, what place is he down to 9th place now? Graham behind Eduardo Prado, who's actually been lapping very quickly. Look at the gap that Eduardo has pulled out on Eric Nelson behind, because Yuri has pulled out behind Eduardo, and then there's Nelson behind Yuri. So Eduardo's obviously been driving well in the second half of this race. It's a shame about his spins in the first 2 races early on, as we might have had very different results. But Skurlock his pressure paid off big time even, not much time. Mid sound Asian.
Hang
time. And through comes Werner, goes very, very wide. Look at the background there. Very, very wide. Trying to take a position off Nelson, but Nelson just lets him go through and then takes position on the exit. Obviously a very ambitious move there from Werner. Barrick not pull away as much as he was in the first race. Just a 2.9 second lead after a 2.2 second lead he had once Lasky got past Bogdan. So, and once Lasky managed to shake off the attentions of Bogdan. It looks like as well that Tarborg is gaining on Bogdan for third position, but maybe he's run out of laps to do so. This is the final lap now that Keith Barrick is on. And what's the best pattern track we can go through? Going to the final lap, we've got Barrick, Lasky, Bogdan, Tarborg, Gardner, Skurlock, Ahmed, Prado, Braham and Nelson. Nelson with Werner all over the back of him still, all race, and both races they seem to be being locked together in battle. Simon, any last thoughts?
It's been a privilege to watch and take part in this, and I think this is going to be great. Of course, the real season takes place from December 3rd, and this will be broadcast live on courtesy of MultiBC through the racedepartment.com website. So make sure you all tune in, have your snacks and your beers, and kick back and enjoy.
And of course, it will be available to download also after the race. So if 4 in the morning is a bit unsociable for you, it's even unsociable for me, and I'm talking. And I'm really quite tired now, to be fair, so if my words are coming out quite unclear, then I apologise. But it's getting to that towards that time of night when you just want to be in bed. But it is available if you're in the Europe time zone and you aren't one of these nutters who drives with the American Touring Car Championship, such as Mr. Tarborg or Mr. Gardner up at 4 in the morning playing, then you can download this from the MultiPC website. So look out for that. And you can enjoy all the ATCC action over again.
Just not alone.
You'd rather be in bed but not alone? Oh, are you alone, Simon?
Unfortunately, although Keith Barrick won't be alone for very much longer as he comes around the last corners to take what has been an absolutely stonking double, if I may say so.
Yeah, absolutely dominant. Barrick comes round the final corner now then, down the final straight. His double win prediction has been completely fulfilled despite his poor qualifying. That's a double win there for Keith Barrick, a fantastic result. Second is Kane Lasky, a stronger run in the second race from Kane. Third, Andrei Bogdan, who's made the most of his good starting position to take that third place, really taking advantage of his opportunities. Very good performance there from Bogdan. Tarborg 4. Disappointing after drop, but a decent drive after dropping out in 9th early on. Gardner in 5th, a great drive there. Skurlock in 6th, Ahmed 7th. Prado, a good recovery drive to 8th, but still be disappointed with his night's work. And there's Yuri Braham coming down 9th, Nelson 10th, holding off Werner again for 11th. That's the same as in the first race, wasn't it? Isles in 12th, Toomer 13th, Peterson 14th, Paul Wood in 15th. Leonardo Toomer not talked about too much during this race. He's obviously kept under the radar, managed to keep himself out of trouble, away from all the shenanigans going on a bit further down the field. As he comes across the line, 16th. A poor result then there for him, really, after a promising opening lap where he took the lead after starting 3rd place. Wood 17th, Gardner 18th, Bass in 19th, Woody Watt in 20th. Michael Carter brings it home in 21st without a front bumper, so he did very well there. Not to just even finish a race, I suppose, and keep on the lead lap even. Look at that. Very, very close racing from everyone here at the ATCC. We should have a few of the drivers coming along for a press conference, if you want to stick around for that, Mr. Simon Smith. So if you want to stick around, people stick around for that. We'll have a talk with a few of the drivers. Science is 22nd, SS 23rd, and Van Scheppingen in 24th after those problems early on, which I think involved Mr. Carver. I did see he went wide, didn't he, on the halfway through in the first S's, which obviously caused quite a bit of carnage in behind. So Barrick takes the win, a double win, absolutely dominant. And we'll just wait for the overall results to appear for us. Chris Sykes obviously didn't take either of the grids. He was just there for entertainment, I presume.
Yeah, maybe he just wanted a front row seat.
Yes.
That was a bit random, that was. So yeah, a very, very interesting pop for me, for my first ever ATCC event to have been taken part in. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's great racing up and down the field, and I was quite pleased with how sportsmanlike it's been as well. So
yes, with no car.
Two thumbs up to everybody.
With Greyhound 5th, Scullock 6th, Garner 7th and Asbury in 8th position. Get a few of these guys in here to have a chat with us.
Just having a look down through the chat that's gone on in the actual room. Abdul Ahmed is busy congratulating Tyler on what was a fantastic battle with each other, and everyone just generally giving everyone a big pat on the back. So it's great to see that all the drivers enjoyed it out there today as well.
Right, so we've got a couple of guys in at the moment. Let's just wait for the other guys coming here as well. We should have 4 or 5 guys come in. Keith will be one of them, as double winner, of course, as is his right, I suppose. So there we have the first ATCC pre-season event. I hope you enjoyed viewing it with us. Here are the skins. This is the general default skin for the ATCC, created by Mr. Marcel van der Aar. Done a very, very good job with these particular skins. Worked very hard. And now we have a couple of guys here. We'll get a bit of talk going here. Keith, first of all.
Yes.
Evening to you.
How
you
you doing,
predicted
Ryan?
before the race that you would have a double win, and I believe you are the Prophet Muhammad, because that came completely true.
It was just all the work preparing for this, getting this ready for everybody, and I was just motivated.
It was unbelievable driving from you, Keith. I mean, the domination, taking advantage of every single opportunity that came to you to take a position. You just basically trounced the whole field. That's the way I would put it, to be fair. You had the advantage all day. I mean, the qualifying performance wasn't great. I mean, Kane put in a fantastic lap for his Super Pole. But obviously it showed that the 4th place was not a disadvantage to you.
Well, Kane, the lap he pulled off was incredible. I mean, I knew that I had good pace here, but I had kind of figured that once you get into race form, basically everything changes. Just the whole dynamic of where you're putting the car on the track changes, and the car reacts totally different. So it's a completely different strategy once you get into race mode and you're surrounded by other cars. But qualifying can go really good, or it can go really bad. It's just you got to take advantage of the opportunities that you get once the race comes around, without putting someone else off.
Indeed. So, Kay, moving on to you. An excellent second place in the second race.
Yeah, it was good, consistent finishes for me today.
Mm-hmm. I got to ask, what happened in the race 1 rolling start? I mean, you went and you got a great jump, but you just seemed to slow down and just give it all back and allow everyone to go back through and drop to 4th place. What happened there?
Basically, I had a kind of a rush day and got to the track late, and it didn't get a chance to read the actual last bit of the starting procedure, so I wasn't sure exactly where the launch was, and I wanted to make sure that I was conservative instead of getting a penalty, so I figured it would be better to let a few people by at the start. And unfortunately, I really wasn't able to battle back up and get on the podium. I put in a really good lap after after the pit, and I thought I would sneak by Yuri, and I knew I would be able to keep the podium and maybe hunt down Jesper, but it wasn't to be. Yuri snuck by me on the exit to the pit, and I made a small mistake trying to get by him, and basically just settled after that.
We saw you in the Peugeot day as well. Why did you decide to go for that instead of, I mean, you've run the BMW quite a bit before. Why did you decide to go for the Peugeot over the BMW this time around?
Well, I was a bit off spot today, I believe. Actually, the car that I was driving was the 320 diesel, which the organizers decided was out of balance for the championship. So at the last second, all of the data that I had been using and setups for the tracks were gone. And so over the last weekend, I've been doing quite a bit of testing on the different cars, and actually was nice enough to get the nod from FDR to borrow their car for the weekend. And I've really just been trying to find the car that's going to work for me for the championship, that's going to work with my strengths as a driver. And so this weekend I spun a lot of laps in different cars, and finally when I jumped in the Peugeot at the end, I probably wasn't as spot on due to driving so many different vehicles, but I drove the Peugeot tonight because it's an easy car to drive and not make too many mistakes, and this is a track that eats people, and so my whole game plan tonight was just to be consistent and not to push the car and take whatever I can get and take that information into the championship for me.
Good. Yuri, very, very kind of you to lend your FDR Peugeot to Kane. We noticed you in the Lard at Diesel there. How did that go for you? We saw you go off at one point at the Dunlop hairpin.
That was in the second race, wasn't it?
So the second race, yes, it was, yes.
Yeah, the first race is the one you have to watch. The second race was a disaster.
The first race you went very well. Yeah, the second race though, what seemed to happen there?
Well, I chose a different strategy. I picked 2 left tires, and that was good for about 3 or 4 laps. And after that, the right tires were just gone, and I had no more grip in the fast left turns, and it was over.
We were on board with you actually, looking back at Tyler Skillock when you went off, with him pressuring you. So that was an excellent ride for us.
Yeah, that was also a factor, of course. Tyler was pushing me.
Tyler was pushing very, very hard. It was excellent, the braking into the corners. We were amazed at his braking ability. Moving on to you, Glenn. You had a bit of a battle there in midfield. How did it all go for you?
First race started out okay. I qualified pretty well for what I usually do. I think 12th. But that first turn, I went wide, and I didn't see somebody was sitting still, and I had nowhere to go, and I hit him. So that race, I pretty much stayed near the back. I think I finished 18th. Second race, I actually moved all the way up to 14th place and finished better than I thought I would. I had some good races with Paul Wood, Ethan, so it was some good racing in the middle there.
There was, yeah. I mean, the Wood brothers were bouncing up and down all over the order, as they had little incidents and then came back through the field again and little incidents again and dropped back again. But what are your hopes for the what are you looking forward to for the actual ATCC season?
Well, I'm looking forward to some good, clean racing. Getting to know a lot of the drivers. There's a lot of new faces out there. And racing with some of the old guard that I'm used to the last few seasons. And hopefully I can keep myself in the first server there so I can have a few more of these interviews.
Yeah, exactly. So this is about all that. We'll make you famous, or infamous, whichever we want it to be. So, Keith, what are your hopes for the ATCC then? Apart from winning it, of course, we all know that.
I'm
what are
very
your hopes for the
competitive.
rest of the competitors?
Well, I mean,
obviously you're the organizer, so what do you see for the rest of the competitors, and what do you hope they experience?
Well, I mean, the environment is obviously the key thing, and that's really what I strive for. Obviously, as a racer, I'm really competitive. I do like to win, but you know, the league. I didn't build the league for me just for me to race and be competitive. It's well, I try. When I race, I do like to win. That's what I strive for. But overall, the league, it's grown pretty quickly considering it's only about a year and a half old. It is in the limelight, being a fairly prestigious league, and we have a good solid base of entries that on any given day we could have the top 10 within half a second, and that is what I expect from the season. And that was the whole goal with Yuri making the mod, to bring a whole bunch of different makes of cars together and make for some really good racing on the track with cars you don't generally see, and also give us a really good broadcast for you and Simon to commentate on.
Yeah, exactly. The variety of vehicles is obviously key to that sort of thing. And Simon was mentioned as well that he said, this is not seen an ATCC race before. This is his cherry popping.
We popped Simon's cherry today.
He did, yeah. And but he was
I'm
saying
feeling
it was,
very sore.
the conversation did go to running from behind at one point, but he was saying he was very impressed by how clean and sporting it was. I mean, he was during the warm-up saying, "Oh, there's going to be lots of carnage into the first corner because there's obviously so many people on
clean
track."
and sporting.
Yes, that's one of the strengths to the series, isn't it, Keith?
Well, yeah, and I mean, with any series, especially when you have guys running so close, there are other factors that do play into the cleanliness of racing, and some of them are out of your control. One being lag, obviously, because this is virtual racing, and
And of course, you've got people from all around the globe, so.
Yeah, exactly. We're drawing from all over the world: Australia, Europe, North America. Literally, we're all over the world, and it sometimes you gotta just accept that we are racing virtually, and there are sometimes that little things like that will happen. Little glitches with the tracks, the cars, whatever. But you kind of got to look past that as a whole. Yes, it's frustrating because we're all very competitive. We race because we are competitive. But overall cleanliness of the drivers, I don't think there's any driver out there that has any ill will towards anybody. To intentionally get them. It's just about racing clean and trying not to put someone else in a bad position.
Yeah, I mean, having raced with you guys, I know that to be completely true. I mean, Yuri, when it comes to obviously you created the mod from the base cars. How did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy making the mod for this series, or are you sick of it now?
No, I'm not sick of it. Of course not. I'm glad that we have reached a version that we can use for the season, and the whole idea behind the mod is that we get a more spread field. Car choice is more strategy at the moment, because last season we had only Hondas in the top, and sometimes a lost Chevy, so it's really transferred around.
But yeah, you've definitely achieved it. In first place, obviously there was a Volvo, and then there was a Peugeot, and a Honda, and then BMW's behind that, and Seats, and it was really, really nice to see. And the Lada, obviously, with you.
Yeah, indeed, the Lada. We expected that.
And the Toledo as well, obviously, with Skurlock, which is one of my favourite cars, to be fair, the Toledo. So I was pleased to see it up there as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for putting on a great show for us.
No, thank you, Ryan, for putting on a good show. You and Simon, we really definitely I can probably speak on behalf of all the drivers. Thank you very much for putting your time into it and helping us out and putting on. You're the one that's putting on a good show for us publicly. So thank you very much, guys.
I just talk a load of waffle.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Simon. Have a great night, guys.
Okay, guys.
Thank you for the spectacle.
Thank you very much. And it's 4:20 in the morning here, so I'm going to we'll go to bed now, I think. So thanks everybody else for watching as well, and we'll see you at the first round of the ATCC, which is on December the 3rd at Road America. So note that in your diary. December the 3rd at Road America for the first round of the ATCC. Qualifying will be taking place. Pre-qualifying will be taking place over the next week, from Monday until Sunday at Watkins Glen. So make sure you follow all that on at racedepartment.com. Just scroll down to the American Touring Car Championship, and you can keep abreast of all the news. And we'll catch you then. See you later, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey, Simon or Ryan, you guys still there?
Yeah, do you want to jump into another room though?